What is up, everybody? Thank you for tuning into yet another episode of Rocket Vlogs. Now, I wanted to do a Q&A video for hitting 10,000 subscribers, and I actually posted in the community tab on the channel about 4 months ago that I wanted to do a Q&A, and I kind of forgot. So today I did a Q&A on Patreon as well and got a few questions. So we got a few that we can answer, but I thought if I do one initially, we might be able to generate a little bit of interest for another one. So if you don't have a question that gets answered in this video, which you probably won't because there's not that many questions, drop a question in the comment section and I'll try to make another one in shorter order than 4 months from now. Anyway, I just wanted to drop a video today specifically because it is the very last day you can get your hands on the I Literally Burn Money t-shirt. After that, the design is gone for good and it will not be coming back. You can still use the discount code COVID for, I think, 10% off. There's a little bit of a discount there. But yeah, today is the last day you can do it, and I spent a whole lot more money on extra hotels because of COVID and stuff, so if you feel like helping, I would greatly appreciate it. I also wanted to build a little excitement surrounding the build videos that are coming. You can actually already see that it's scheduled for Sunday. We're dropping the part 1 of the 12-inch Wildman Punisher upscale build. Yes, I said 12-inch. It's 16 feet tall. You can see it in the thumbnail. It is absolutely ridiculous. Me and my buddies, Taylor and Matt, built it in Taylor's garage in the 90-degree heat with 90% humidity in 1 week. And the majority of it was finished in 1 day. It's an insane build and I'm super excited for you guys to see it. So I figured I'd let you guys know. I'll put the link in the description so you can click it and get the notifications for when it's premiering. It's premiering at 9 a.m. Mountain Time on Sunday, July 3rd. Alternatively, if you want to see the whole thing now without any ads, you can join Patreon at patreon.com/rocketvlogs. We just hit 22 patrons. When we hit 25, I'm going to be giving away a high-power rocket kit up to $100 in value every quarter that we sustain 25 or more Patreon supporters. We only need 3 more people to jump on the bandwagon to make that a reality. So now that I'm done selling my soul because I spent a ton of money traveling the country for the past 3.5 weeks, let's get into the questions. Andrew Gilmore, who you may recognize from my LDRS videos, commented, "Does your money jingle or fold?" Well, like I said, I just spent 3.5 weeks traveling the country, and gas is over $5 a gallon and over $6 a gallon for premium in some places. So my money don't jiggle, it's gone. Jeremy Sim asked, how did you get into rocketry? Well, I started flying low power stuff with my dad when I think I was about 6. The first rocket that I can remember having was an Estes Baby Bertha, and I believe we flew it on C-63. One of my saddest moments in rocketry history was I had an ARV Condor that my dad and I built, and one of them did the glider trim thing perfect, and it corkscrewed all the way down and it landed perfect. The other one went into the foothills by my grandma's house, never to be seen again. It's a real travesty, and I've had a couple opportunities to buy another ARV Condor kit. I just don't think I would build it. I have a bunch of Estes kits that I already haven't built and really have no intention of building. It's not that I have a problem with them, it's just I like big things more. But yeah, interestingly, how I got into high power though was a family friend gave me a couple of 90s Aerotech kits that were already built, an Arcus and a Mustang, and I flew my first G-motors on those things and actually got my dad into high power. So we pulled the old switcheroo on that, and I had already been out. We had been going to launches and I'd flown a couple G-motors and stuff, but after we went and saw some bigger stuff, my dad kind of got pulled in a little bit, and we didn't have, you know, a lot of money, especially with 2008 issues, so I did what I could. Big shout out to Tim Van Milligan from Apogee Components for letting me write for him when I was like 14. Now I write full time, that's my career, so maybe I owe Tim a thanks for that one. But yeah, so I would get as much money together as possible and try and buy motors for my dad to get a cert so that I could also fly high power. It's a crazy way in, but it's the way we took. Jeremy Sim asks also, rocketry or drifting if you had to choose one? That sucks because I've been watching so many drifting videos and stuff, and my car is sitting outside broken, but it's been 103 or higher every day since I've been back. I already straightened the frame out, I just need to put it back together. I just haven't had the motivation to do it. I want to go drifting so bad, so I'm feeling the itch for it really hard right now. So it's making this question extremely difficult, but as much as I love drifting, as much as it's so much fun, I have to say, I think I'm gonna have to go with Rocketry between the two. It's way more ingrained in my blood than drifting is at this point. Alex on Patreon asks, I have some fun ones. If you won the lottery, what's the first crazy rocket project you would start? This is also a difficult one because we just built my dream rocket. Like, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a big giant Gates Brothers style, just a huge rocket. Nobody does really big crazy rockets anymore, and I was just super excited for that. So if I won the lottery, for one, I would start accumulating motors and hardware like the Gates Brothers did, just so I could have anything. A stack of K250s, you know, boxes and boxes of propellant, whatever, what have you. Call up Aerotech and get a run of N4800s made. That is an absolute for sure. That would have to happen. But I think the first thing in terms of a rocketry project I would do would be find a big, huge, like, shop space or warehouse that I can dedicate to rocketry. Me and my dad and my friends can just have like this whole shop specifically for rocket stuff and go do whatever we want to do, have all the storage space we could ever imagine. That's like one of my big giant dreams. Like the unrealistic pipe dream for this channel is that it eventually enables me to have a shop space specifically for rockets, or, you know, a house with a garage would be a good place to start. I don't have one of those. But yeah, other than that, just big rocket stuff. That's what I grew up on, was all the huge, crazy projects. Every LDRS there was something ridiculous. The Arizona Rocketry, Gemini DC, the Fliskits Drake upscale. I saw that in person. Vern Hogue and Steve Eves Saturn 1Bs and Steve Eves Saturn 5. All that crazy stuff. I was young watching that stuff, so now it's something I really want to do. So yeah, big rockets. Another dream that could potentially come true with lottery money would be having Pat Gordzalik make a P motor. He pressed the button at my level 3, which was like a meeting a celebrity moment type thing for me, because I just had a fascination with all these rocketry people that were on, you know, like TV shows and stuff when I was little. So Pat is definitely one of those people that I look up. Like, until I actually met him in person, he was like a celebrity to me. So it was really cool for him to press the button on my level 3 cert. So yeah, definitely flying a Pat motor is up there on the lottery winnings list as well. He also asked, naturally aspirated or forced induction? Too easy, man. There is a replacement for displacement, and it's called turbochargers. Sorry, friends. That's always going to be my answer. Humbuckers or single coils? I am a humbucker guy. Last year I purchased my dream guitar. It's a 2001. Year didn't really matter, just needed to be the right color. Alpine white, Les Paul custom. Big Randy Rhoads fan when I started playing the guitar, about 11 or 12 years old. So watching those Aussie After Hours performances where he had the dummy thick, just stupid heavy looking Alpine white Les Paul that it was all yellow from being around cigarette smoke all the time. I have one. Dumb amount of money to spend on a guitar, but I did buy one last year. Alright, we're gonna move on to the YouTube questions. Oh yeah, I have a Fender Jaguar that I specifically ordered, the one that has humbuckers instead of single coils. It's for sale, by the way. If anybody's a guitar player and watches this, message me. I've got a really good deal on one for you. They're like $1,200 new, 900 bucks. You can have it. I just set it up too. It's really nice. Okay, Adam3836 asks, what's your favorite level 1 motor and why? Man, that's a tough choice. So, let's see. I mean, the i600 is so hard to argue with, but there's some like iconic classics in the 38360 range, like the i180. That's a classic as well. I'm looking at all the 38mm hardware sitting over there. Oh yeah, I got a LDRS 17 38600 case too. Emerald green. Pretty cool, pretty hard to find. Thanks, Jason Griffin. And I got a 1080 case from Rex. Jeez, yeah, that's hard. i345, the CTI 3-grain White Thunder. Good motor as well. I did my level 1 with that. Jeez, man. I don't even know. H242 is a really good, cheap 2-grain 38 Blue Thunder, but it's super loud because it's a Blue Thunder, and it's under 125 grams of propellant, so you can fly it in a park, which is pretty crazy. H123 for that same reason. Oh, I don't know. I don't think I can narrow it down to just one. If I have to say just one, it's the i600 because it's just brutal. It's such a good motor. I actually have one for my 7.5-inch Fat Boy that I'm hopefully going to fly this fall. What's your all-time favorite rocket to fly and why? Huh. You guys are picking some difficult questions. I think probably my 3-inch Wildman Punisher. I bought that rocket with the prospect of it being super easy to transport around. It could fly on anything from an I to an L. I bought it on sale for like 99 bucks at Black Saturday a couple years ago, so it's just it's so much rocket for so little money, and it will handle anything you can throw at it. I think I only have 3 or 4 flights on mine. It looks like it's got a lot more though. I keep not looking at the camera because the rocket's sitting right there. Taylor's has like 25 flights on it or something like that. He's got K1275, K700s, he did a K375. Like, they're great. They're cheap, they're bulletproof, and you can fly it single deploy with motor eject if you want to go easy and get your certs. You can fly dual deploy with head-end deployment. It's great. Great rocket. Highly recommend it. One of my favorites. Probably my favorite to fly. Close second would be my 5-inch Punisher. It just gets a little push to the wayside because it costs so much more to fly. When adding internal or outside fillets to your rocket's fins, how long do you wait for your fillets to cure before you spin the body tube to continue the next set of fillets? I seem to either rush and get some epoxy slightly running, or I feel I wait forever. Yeah, I used to struggle with the epoxy impatiency issues. Impatiency? I just made that word up. The epoxy impatience issues all the time. I just don't anymore. You just gotta wait for it to cure, man. That's really all you can do. If you're using West Systems, you can heat cure stuff. It might be in my 5-inch Punisher video. I kind of developed a technique for heat curing West Systems internal fillets and external ones, where I put a big like 10-gallon trash bag over it and tape the edges off with aluminum or masking tape and put a hairdryer in there. And then once the bag's inflated and encasing everything you're trying to dry, you can just poke a meat thermometer in there or get a laser thermal thermometer to get kind of an idea of what the temperature is like in there. And the nice thing about using a bag is you can kind of poke vent holes in it, and you can actually get the temperature to stay relatively, uniform throughout the entire time you have the hairdryer running. Or you could build a curing oven if you were smarter than me and not as cheap as I am. But ultimately you gotta wait for the epoxy to dry. That's all you can do. Most of my big rockets, I'll do a set of fillets, especially the internals, because you can't tell what they're going to do, and just leave it overnight and come back and do the next set the next day. It definitely adds a lot of building time. I also recently discovered the pleasures of West Systems with Fast Hardener. Highly recommended. And finally, Adam3836 asks, sorry, these were all Adam3836. Woo, Adam3836 questions. Number 4, what's your favorite GPS tracker? I don't have one. I have never flown a GPS tracker. I'm a big proponent of RF tracking, just the cheap Wildman beepers. Those things have a ridiculous range, even on the ground. My dad's rocket, after he flew an M1780, we had signal from almost 3 miles out on the ground. Great trackers, cheap, just tape them to the shock cord. It's great. GPS though has long intrigued me. I'm always going to fly RF backup even if I do fly GPS, because I've seen GPS lose lock a couple times and never come back, but the prospect of just having coordinates to go pick up my rocket from sounds really nice. So a friend of mine, Rex, actually offered me a MissileWorks T3 GPS system, and we have one now. So the previous owner clipped the ears off the PC board for whatever reason. I assume they were trying to fit it in a small nose cone maybe, but he gave me a really good deal for the whole system with a 3D printed case and everything. I just need a couple batteries and then we are ready to rock. So I haven't quite decided what this thing is going to go in first yet. But I do have a rocket that would be very lovely to have GPS on in the plan book, maybe for balls next year. we'll see. We'll see. Okay. Will Mani, I hope that's how you say your name, asked, what's the best sounding looking motor you've launched and the best you've seen? I'm really glad that I forgot to read these questions on air before, because now my answer is the best sounding and looking motor I've personally ever flown is the CTI M1675 Pink. I'm a sucker for purple and pink stuff. That probably comes through pretty clearly. If you've seen my drift car, I painted that metallic purple last year. Purple's my favorite color, and a lot of those pink motors burn a little bit more purple than they do pink. Mine was very pink, but it's still just the contrast of seeing a color like that in the photos and especially in person was just so nuts. Like, that's not a common color to see a rocket motor, so that one really sticks in my memory. That's definitely one of my favorite flights ever and one of my favorite motors. I wish I could say my best sounding motor was my N2220 Dark Matter because it was really expensive, but it didn't do the sparky thing. It didn't crackle. And so the best I've seen, probably the Evolution Space S45000, because standing so close to that thing, because it was at Friends of Amateur Rocketry, it was like an earthquake, man. It was a 10-inch diameter S motor, 400 feet away. Insane. Will goes on to ask, any particular kit or motor you'd recommend for a level 3 cert flight? Jeez, man. The Ultimate Wildman is a classic. They're expensive because it's a lot of fiberglass. If you're feeling bold, a 4-inch Punisher is a really cool level 3 flight. I highly recommend putting the charges in the tip of the nose if you're going to do that and do head-end dual deploy. Similarly, the Extreme Wildman or Extreme Darkstar, really any 4-inch glass kit with a 75 is a cool level 3 on a 4 grain. You can expect maybe 14,000, 15,000 feet out of it. That's what my level 3 was. It was my 4-inch Punisher fin can with the upper section from my 4-inch Mad Dog from years and years ago, because I didn't want to do head-end dual deploy for my level 3. And it went 14,300 feet on an M1297. If you want to go old school cool, you get a 5.5-inch lock kit, 7.5-inch lock kit, fiberglass it, Scott binders. The SBR level 3 Fusion is really cool, fiberglass it. Motors I recommend, the M1315 is just such a classic, and I've been kind of obsessed with it recently because I just got a 6400 case. Obviously the M1297 is the easy go-to answer. That's what I used. It is a little bit of a cop-out because it used to be an L, so it's like barely an M, but it is an M. That's all you need, really. I don't know, I used to be a proponent for low and slow level 3 in all cert flights, but now it's so easy to just fly a rocket well over 10,000 feet and get it back at this point in high power rocketry that, you know, flying 2 miles isn't even that impressive anymore. Like, when people ask me, what's the highest you've ever flown? I never think outside of the rocketry world when I'm like, well, the highest I've flown and got it back was only 14,000. It just blows people's minds that you've flown something that high, but in the rocketry world, that's not that high anymore. So yeah, I mean, do what you gotta do, but M1315, if you want big baller level 3, M1939, it's a pricey level 3 flight, but you really be flexing hard on everybody. Alternatively, the M1419 is another classic, 3 grain 98 White Lightning. M2500, super cool. I like the M1780 a lot too if you want a little bit of Blue Thunder roar, but you don't have $700 for an M2500. It's yeah, there's a lot of good motors. M650 if your rocket's light enough, like Gary from Aerotech just did his level 3 on an M650. Moving on. Will Moni, final question. What has been your most reliable tracking solution? We already talked about that. The RF bird style transmitters that Tim from Wildman sells, so you can get them on ComSpec's website. Love them. The only time I've ever lost a rocket with one was at Airfest last year. I didn't really discuss it much on video or at all, When I flew the Big Daddy, it had the same tracker, and it was a little bit funky until I was right up on it. I don't know if the battery was dying or what. And actually, before that at LDRS, Taylor flew that same tracker, and we had some issues. We didn't get a signal at all on his 3-inch Punisher. So we had to just drive around the lake bed until we found it. So that transmitter seemed to be having some issues. Who knows? I also think there's a potential that I accidentally put the main out at apogee on my 54 minimum, and it was windy, so it's pretty reasonable to expect that if it went 21,000 feet or anywhere near that, that the wind could have taken it 7 miles out of range of my tracker with the main out at 20,000 feet. Who knows? Maybe I'll go to Argonia this year and it'll be sitting in the lost and found bin, and altimeter will tell me exactly how high it went and everything will be just fine. It just doesn't seem all that likely. Alright, Riot on Earth says Kraft mac and cheese or Velveeta shells and cheese. You know, I tried Velveeta shells and cheese for the first time a couple years ago, and it didn't do it for me. I'm not a big Velveeta fan, so Kraft mac and cheese of the two. But if I'm gonna go mac and cheese, I'm gonna go pretty bougie with it. I want something, well, usually not out of a box, but actually Walmart has some pretty crazy, like, Kraft, that's not the right word, it just makes you think of Kraft mac and cheese. Boutique mac and cheeses. They have like a cheddar and bacon one, white cheddar and bacon, all these different flavors. They're like $2. It's big fancy boxes and they come in shells. Incredible. It's great. So I highly recommend checking that out. Alright, and Flyover Country wants to know, could you tell me right quick what would be a better motor for my Skyline, a Gala 12 or a Gala 24? Believe it or not, as much of a car guy as I am, the fact that my entire career is based in the automotive industry, I really hate the Fast and Furious series. I know if Jason Fensky from Engineering Explained happens to see this, I'm sorry, Jason. I just don't enjoy them. At any rate, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you have any questions you want to ask me, drop them in the comments. I'll do another Q&A video as soon as possible. I appreciate everybody for sticking around. Once again, today is the last day that you can get your hands on the I Literally Burn Money shirt. Use the discount code COVID for 10% or something off. Link in the description, or you can just type in rocketvlogs.com. If you want to be participating in the giveaways once we hit 25 patrons, check out patreon.com/rocketvlogs. All we need is 3 more people, and we're giving away our first kit. I haven't decided what we're going to give away yet, but maybe a Mac Performance kit. I've seen a lot of people like those, or something along those lines. I say up to $100, but I'm not going to cheap out and be like, yeah, here's a $20 kit. I'm saying it's safe to assume it's going to be somewhere between the $75 and $100 range. So join in, as little as $5 a month on Patreon, and yeah, you get that opportunity plus all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I mean, all the Patreon people have already seen all the crazy stuff that's gone down with the 12-inch Punisher, ground testing, everything. That was pretty nuts. 15 grams of black powder. It's loud. I'll stop rambling now. You guys have a great day. Have a safe 4th of July. I didn't say it in the video that's going out on the 3rd. If you're doing fireworks stuff, keep it safe. I'm doing fireworks stuff. It's a little bit crazy. If you're still watching, let me know in the comments if that would be a fun, like, a side video for you. I'll be there with some friends that probably make it a little bit less than family friendly on the audio front. But yeah, we've got a pretty nuts fireworks display for my buddy's house this year. So once again, thank you for watching Rocket Vlogs, and I will see you guys next time.